This fun summertime fresh look. You're gonna love this. It's full of more real world techniques, a few industry techniques, and it is not your traditional sort of Instagram, YouTube friendly type of makeup look. We're gonna be exploring products and mixing and just having a whole lot of fun with it. And of course, we're going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. So stay tuned also to the review. I'm also going to put a little start and stop time, so if you want to race to go see the review and you want to skip the tutorial, feel free to do so. And so I'll have the start and stop times down below in the comment section below. And I'll of course have a list of the shadows I'm wearing today that follow up with the tutorial, and keep on watching if you want to see what I think and you want to see this palette for yourself. To get started on this sort of fun kind of summertime look, I want to do something really fun and you know, kind of you know, feels good. First off, we want to feel good, we want comfort, and I feel that with, like, you know, the clients that I work on, because especially because they're going out in the hot sun, me not so much. So I think in that way it's easy to contradict myself because I'm working inside air conditioned all day long. But if you're going to go outside, you don't want to melt. So we're going to start off with the good skincare. Acure Organic Facial Toner, balancing red tea. My skin has been feeling a lot more supple with the new skincare I've been using versus dry. Like when I first moved to California, I felt so much more dry. I don't know if the pollutants have gotten stronger or whatnot, but I'm feeling much more supple. You never want to feel stripped or overly rinsed off. You always want to have some kind of natural oil. Andalou Naturals Fruit Stem Cell Science Do-It-Yourself Booster SPF. I kind of like that these bottles are clear because I know where I'm at. The truth is in the proof is in the pudding, and so really liking this one as well for good anti-ager. I can definitely feel the white tea balancing out my skin. And of course my Mad Hippie Eye Cream. This still feels full. Can't see through the bottle at all, but I'm loving this eye cream. Sometimes my eyes look so good even when I'm not using it that I actually forget to use it. So you need good skincare. For my eyeshadow primer, of course, taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills in 0.5 because it's a good sticky base. We're going to be taking the Modern Renaissance palette, and this palette is, let's go ahead and put some of it on. Today, I'm going to be taking my Sigma Mrs. Bunny brush because it is a good fluffy blender. No other reason than that. This is not like, I'm not talking about brands here, we're just talking about brush shapes. So for the first color, we're going to be taking Tempera, which is that nice sort of a nudie shadow shade. And we're going to be blending that through the crease. And I'm doing this first so that the eyeshadows don't crease up on me. Just to kind of show you, this palette does kick up a little bit of a dust. So you don't need to grind or dig your brush into it when you're applying it. And just blend that up all the way to the brow bone. Because I'm a big believer in taking the light colors first, we're going to be taking Vermeer, which is a very shimmering shadow shade. And who doesn't want a little bit of that nice kind of glow and glisten? Skincare is going to be all the rage coming up this fall. It's already been on the runways. They're putting like a lot of heavy, you know, very creamy masks and skincare on, and just letting the models glisten and glow. So we're going to be all about that glow, but in a new kind of style coming up for winter. It's going to be less about that matte coverage with all the highlighter and more about like a natural look. So that was another thing that kind of inspired me to do today's look. Not that I have seen the runway looks, but I heard the SK2 face masks are gonna be all the rage, so skincare will be all the rage, and you know, you gotta take care of your skin, so I love it. Just gonna be cleaning up. Burnt orange next. We're going to stay in the warm family, and now we're going to be taking a little bit of raw sienna and blending that through a little bit of the burnt orange. Once again, you don't need to grind your brush in there, just pick up color because this color kicks up a lot of dust. I'm going to be taking Primavera, and if you have a warm skin tone, you might want to take this for your basic highlight, but because I'm cool toned, I took Vermeer. So for my lid color, I'm going to be changing it up and taking Primavera. So for now, I'm going to take a little bit of Realgar because I want to keep the look kind of bright and summery, and I don't want to dip into like the darkest shade at the moment because I don't want to like go from all this nice sort of brights and shines and glistens and let the sun hit and radiate and all that jazz and then go boom. So Realgar it is. Now, because I do want to sample some of the other colors because I don't think it's like really fair to be like, okay, boom, review, and you haven't seen me actually play with this. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know I already have this guy, but just to be completely fair, we'll play with it a little bit on camera. Red Ochre. I really want to see how this color plays on the eye. And when you're doing a summer look, you can still have fun with light color because I think that's the point of summer. But to keep it from being like too dark or too smoldery, sorry, sometimes I combine words because my brain gets ahead of me, but too dark, too sultry, too smoldery. Just like avoid planting this all over the eye. I don't really think, I like smoky on the summertime because I don't really think that the colors like drip down if you're using a good primer. And you want like, especially if you're like going to Disneyland and stuff like that this summer, you don't want to see like a dark smoky eyes in like a forever picture. Do you know what I mean? Like you want it to be like, hey, having fun y'all, and not be like, having fun y'all. So for now I'm gonna be taking Golden Ochre. I was gonna do a voiceover and then I'm like, you know what, screw it. I hate editing voiceover videos anyways. I mean, I love filming them, but I hate editing them. So I'm just like, and I have a tendency to get way too serious in a voiceover because I feel like the video swings by so fast and I'm like, oh, and scene. So today we talk. And now my pet peeve is like, this is the final look. This brow bone is not blended out. I'm gonna go back into a little bit of tempera and take a clean blender and diffuse that brow bone out, which is why we took that really soft color right up against it, and then we're just going to, like you do in a traditional smoky eye, speaking of which, you want a little bit of work, a little bit of back and forth. Elf primer, this is the Illuminating Face Primer in Radiant Glow. It is the orange bottle. It does go on looking kind of like a scary yellowy substance. So just an FYI. If you're paler than me, I would just get the hydrating primer. Now with a fresh look, it really is more about concealing the areas that we don't like about our skin, that we're more concerned about, more self-aware of, than it is about foundationing up the skin and getting that full, you know, beat look. So I'm gonna be taking my Dermablend Quick Fix Body Concealer in the shade Nude, and I will have my Magic Link code down below if you want to check out Dermablend. But of course, I work with Magic Link, so if you don't want to support me, go to dermablend.com and pick up one of these for yourself. We're going to be taking the Butter London. Actually, this Butter London one is black, so let's kind of move away. Let's move away from the poison. I'm going to be taking Brown Sugar from Butter London, and this is the Wink Eye Pencil Crayon. And this one might come off. I don't recommend putting eyeshadow on the waterline, but the decision is yours to make. Okay, so if you hate highlighting, a lot of my customers have expressed a concern to me putting makeup remover in their eye. And I completely respect this because I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable coming to me. I do like it. It neutralizes the waterline or adds a fun kind of cat eye effect. Without the tight lining, you cannot have this exact effect. So I've had a lot of people recently just kind of express that to me. I have not figured or communicated a way to explain to people if this is safe or not, because I've never really looked to see if eye makeup remover is okay for the waterline. I'm not a doctor, so if they're not okay with it, I skip that. But if somebody also wants to skip the tight lining, you can go straight into Burnt Orange and put that at the base of the lower lash line. Now for the inner tear duct, I'm taking a little bit more Vermeer, which is that top shimmering pinky color. And we're just going to press that using a concealer brush, because we can use the tips and just get that angle precisely in there. And so that kind of almost kind of cleans up and finishes, you know, the basic eye. Taking Endless Guava from Josie Moran. I already know this look is going to be way too light. Not a lot of YouTube makeup fans are going to enjoy it. So it is what it is. I'm going to be taking my Real Techniques Beauty Blender, since I don't use this on the regular anymore, because I don't want to mix it with my foundation Beauty Blender and get colored pigment in it. So I'm just going to kind of downsize this to my blush one. Hi guys, welcome to chemistry class. Today we're going to be making our own foundation. So we're going to be taking a pump of the Too Faced Porcelain Born This Way foundation. We're going to be taking a pump of the e.l.f. Luminous Primer. We're going to be taking a pump of the the Andalou Naturals, facial serum. And we're going to take this fun, juicy concoction. Actually, I think it's going to get mixed with my blush a little bit. So we're going to be taking this, and we're just going to mess with that. We're going to blend it all out and create one formulation, one paste. Now let's get real. Baking is purely optional, but just so you guys know, it can add texture to the face. So if you're somebody who suffers from texture, this may not be your favorite thing to do, because nobody wants to make your skin look three-dimensional. So there are some good and bad things that come from baking. You get a good solid foundation that doesn't melt, but on the other hand, there's texture. So we're just going to be taking the e.l.f. HD powder and pressing that into the skin for longevity, as opposed to sweeping lightly. We're not going to be baking. Now if you want to quiet those powders on the face, we're going to be adding a little bit of toner. Spray from a great distance. We don't want to kind of disrupt the makeup, but we don't want it to be cakey either. I feel sometimes if you sculpt the face first, this is my preference, you can completely choose to not do this way, but I feel like you do less of a harsh eyebrow. You feel like you need to go in and sculpt with the brow less. And although a lot of the younger generation is kind of saying, oh, you don't want to over tweeze the eyebrows and stuff and get that 30s brow, I completely get that. I understand, because you can make the root go dead after years of over plucking, but at the same time it's nice to have a little bit of an arch and not be overpowered by your brows. So we're going to take a little bit of contour first. So I'm going to be going in with the IT Cosmetics the IT Cosmetics CC Radiance palette and this Plain Jane Beauty angled brush. I don't want that to be harsh. Okay, so now I'm going to be taking Becca Cosmetics Moonstone. I get a lot of compliments on this highlighter. I like that the formula is consistent in the regular Becca range, and so I grabbed this guy and I'm loving it. I get a lot of compliments on it, so it's definitely worth it for me. It's like, what's that glow on your cheek? Every time I say Becca, everyone's like, who? So a lot of people don't know this brand. It's not like a household name at all yet, but I think Kryolan is the manufacturer for regular Becca. I don't know about the other Beccas, like the champagne pop. So when it comes to mascara, I always like to have this on last so that when I go to powder the face, it doesn't come down. It doesn't like streak, I mean, because on different people, I've noticed mascaras dry at different time speeds. And so, with that being said, I like to be super duper careful. Okay, so for lip color, we're going to be finishing off the Butter London Lippy liquid color, and this shade is called Tea with the Queen. So Tea with the Queen, let's go ahead and put this gorgeous nude on. And I don't know if you guys have seen the nail color, but I want it, except it's not exactly my favorite for a pedicure color, and my nails have to be natural. So this year will probably be all about buying bold ass nail colors for my toes. But for lips, I like everything except, you know, like greens and blues and stuff like that. Like, that's not really something that I can really put on my everyday client. But this, for me, for a client especially, is an everything look. And I think it would also be a really good bridal party look, because you don't ever want to take the overtake, you know, the whole thing. You want the bride to be the star of the show. And so for me, like that, this, everything. And stay tuned for my critique on this palette if you are interested. If not, I'll see you guys in the next video. It's been real fun, but if you'd like to continue forward, just keep talking about this particular palette. So the Modern Renaissance is a collection of 14 eyeshadows that range from neutral to berry shades. This palette has the shelf life of 6 months. That is shockingly unheard of. But the palette pans are also very, very small. They're 0.02 ounces each. So inside the palette, when you open it up, you'll see the neutral and the berry tones. All the shadows look much wider. You get more shades in here than any of the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes in the past. But keep in mind, these are very shallow pans. That's not a bad thing when they say that this palette lasts only 6 months. So from here, you have all the neutrals on the left-hand side and all the autumnal berry shades on the winter side. So if you get this particular palette around now and you open it around now, it's going to be good for you pretty much between summer all the way up till fall and winter. Of course, you can use any of these shades anytime, any place, anywhere that you want. The decision is yours to make, or your work dress code's decision to make. Now, with the 14 shades, you have Tempera, Golden Ochre, Vermeer, Bon Fresco, Antique Bronze, Love Letter, Citrus Umber, Raw Sienna, Burnt Orange, Primavera, Red Ochre, Venetian Red, Warm Taupe, and Realgar. With Tempera, you're getting a really nice nudie toned basic eyeshadow that is a satin finish. With Golden Ochre, you're getting a really nice sort of a taupe with a very strong dollop of gold in it. I mean, this is definitely a gold shade for sure. It resonates as gold on. It is unmistakably a gold shadow. The next color in here is sort of a shimmering highlight frosty finish. Vermeer is a cool toned highlight shade. Bon Fresco is a pink based or sort of a malted based matte shade. Antique Bronze is sort of a rustic red and brown shade. Love Letter is a matte rouge color, a true pink based red. Citrus Umber is a matte chocolate brown. Raw Sienna is a very warm brown. Burnt Orange is a predominantly orange based light brown. Primavera is a warm golden toned shimmering shade. Red Ochre is a rust red matte shade. Venetian Red is a high shine shimmering sort of a curtain call shade. Warm Taupe is your traditional sort of blonde based brow taupe, and Real Gur, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a rusty orange, intense color. There are quite a bit of MAC dupes in this palette, something to be very aware of. If you like MAC basics and MAC crazies, you'll love this palette to death. Not only can you use some of these shades as highlighters, and some of these shades even as blushes, the pigmentation on them is exquisite. Just as a disclaimer, there is a ton of fallout with this palette. Not on the eyes, but when you're working with it in practice, you will see a lot of dust falling in down through the other shades. It kicks up a lot of pigment. Just something to keep in mind. As we say on YouTube, please do not dig your brushes into this palette. It is unnecessary. Please do not swatch heavily, as your skin oils will truly become part of the mixing pot and really kind of make a solid base for these shadows. Not cute. If you've ever been inside Sephora and you feel the consistency of the product on display is different than what you get at home, it's usually because some of these oils haven't mixed with the product. With that being said, the one you get at home will definitely be drier and flatter looking unless you swatch it continuously. I definitely recommend swatching it with a brush, lightly, tapping product off lightly. Now, this product actually comes with a brush. Okay, well, I don't live alone, and I don't think that brush got up and walked away, but it's not here right now. But the brush in here actually works very, very well, which is surprisingly shocking. It's a dual-ended brush. You get a blending side, and you get a side for packing on color. So it works really well, and I hate to inform you that it's not here. I'm not upset or angry. It's just a brush. I have a ton of brushes, but I can't find that particular one. So it could have been that somebody else, because I do try to help clean everybody else's brushes because they don't understand that you have to clean them. So it could be that theirs was wet and they borrowed mine, which is okay because I told them they could, but I can't seem to find it, so that's okay. But just so you guys know, it works beautifully. So you know, this is a good palette for on the go and for travel in that way, because it's one nice little clean box. It has, of course, your day and your night colors. Very thin, nice little velvet box. Reminds me of the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette. Same packaging idea with rose gold lettering on it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And so it is a cruelty-free palette, of course, or I wouldn't be reviewing it. You are getting a cute little mirror up here. And just if you want to keep this mirror looking kind of fresh and clean, because this palette kicks up a lot of dust, I would not take this little plastic guy off of it, because you can see through it just the same. Now, all of these colors in here are beautiful, and what really inspired me to go ahead and grab this palette was I had bought an Anastasia Beverly Hills singles, fresh orange soda, pink champagne, and hot chocolate, and I thought those shades were exquisite. On my own, I almost purchased Bon Fresco, and then I saw that this had already launched at Macy's, so I decided to go ahead and grab this, because if I bought 4 singles, it would have cost me $40, and this already cost me $42 to try out all these bad boys. So I figured this was the better deal. So I already knew how shallow this palette was, and I already knew just how much shelf life it had when I bought it, but I really wanted to try it out because I was so impressed with my individual palette that I created. So with that being said, yes, YouTube made me buy it, but I had a previously good experience with other Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows that also made me want to buy it. When I first found out about the shelf life of this palette, I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I remembered how short time ago I actually bought my Kat Von D Monarch palette and how I hit pan on quite a few of those colors. So I was like, well, you know, if I use this routinely a lot and really enjoy it when it's fresh and I have it, I'm really going to get a good amount of use out of it in the next 6 months. So just go ahead, pick it up. You probably will not regret it. I do love the way this palette looks on everybody else who's reviewed it, so I think it is a fairly universally flattering palette. So with that being said, a little bit of pigment goes a long way, because once again, these colors kick up a lot of dust. But then again, so does Inglot, and I love Inglot. So you just have to be kind of careful because the shadows are very fragile. They're not firmly pressed, but that's also what makes it beautiful, easy to blend, and a really good on-the-go palette filled with your favorite basics. I'm going to quickly spray my arm with toner. I'm going to try to swatch in the clean area of my arm, and I don't keep shoving it on my arm with tattoos for any reason other than the fact that I'm left-handed. I'm going to be swatching like that. So first shade is Tempera, and that you're not going to be able to see on my arm, but that's your nude shade. The next shade is Golden Ochre, and that is your nudie tan shade. Next shade is Vermeer, and that is your shimmering shade. We don't need to spend a lot of time admiring each one because there's already quite a few videos up like that. Next shade is Bon Fresco, and that is your nude cool tone, kind of a pink based transition color or matte color. Next shade is Antique Bronze. And the only reason I'm swatching it with a little bit of wetness underneath of it is so they pop a little bit more on my arm, so we're not just like swatching and you don't see swatches. Next shade is Love Letter. That is super pigmented, and that is your matte rouge. Next shade is Cypress Umber, and that is your super pigmented hot chocolate brown. So if you're looking into getting hot chocolate, I mean, I love hot chocolate, I own it, so I have no regrets, but this is super pigmented. Next shade is going to be Raw Sienna. Like I'm just stating this, if you want to follow along with my tutorials, there's no need to get this palette and get hot chocolate. You could always get Pink Champagne on my recommendation, but this shade is, sorry, that is Raw Sienna. Next shade is Burnt Orange. And this palette does remind me of that Laura Lee palette from Violet Voss, so if you're considering getting something that's not private label, go ahead and get this palette instead. Not to undercut a fellow YouTuber, but you know, I'm just stating the facts that that's a private label palette. Primavera, which is your warm tone golden highlight shade. Red Ochre. Venetian Red. As we go up my arm, we don't have that much more toner up the arm. So this is kind of swatching on its own. It's pretty good, isn't it? Warm Taupe, which also came with a previous Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. I believe the Mia Mia. So that is your kind of your brow filler if you have blonde hair. Next color and last color is Rilger. Tempera, Golden Ochre, Vermeer, Bon Fresco, Antique Bronze, Love Letter, Cypress Umber, Raw Sienna, Burnt Orange, Primavera, Red Ochre, Venetian Red, which has more shimmer than Red Ochre, Warm Taupe, and Rilger. So those are all the shades, and on my eyes, if you watch the tutorial, we are playing with a lot of nudie transition shades, but I kind of went more in depth than I did when I did my Jeffree Star First Impressions, so you can see a little bit more color play. Of course, this one has much more neutrals that you can play with versus that palette. So I usually will try to play with a few more colors in general when I do First Impressions than when I did that video. They come off pretty nice and even. Now I do have pink skin, so it will look kind of inflamed when that's off, but that's okay. The colors do not leave a stain. It's the only reason I told you about the pink skin thing. Of course it will look inflamed, but that doesn't mean that my arm is stained. So if you're somebody who likes highlight shades, these look so glistening and bright on the skin. You have kind of like a champagne pop and kind of like a Prosecco right here. If you're interested, playing around and seeing how you like cool tone versus warm tone. I'm not saying don't get that palette, I'm just saying like you could play with this and see how you like that and then merge into getting a face highlighter. But honestly, eyeshadow highlights on the face are beautiful on the face because they're more, I don't know, densely packed, so they look more glowy and dewy and wondrous. So that's kind of been my newest obsession, is doing eyeshadow highlighters as face highlighters. But I just want to share that with you guys. Of course, I'll show you guys in future tutorials as well, so if you like it, you can play along with me. But that is today's palette. Beautiful work on this one. I really hope to see more beautiful things like this coming from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I think that this is a really fun trend that we're doing right now, is the really warm kind of rougey neutrals. And if you want to keep this palette as nice as you possibly can, always keep this little plastic guy, so that kind of collects some of the grime and the shadow and stuff like that, so to keep the palette really, really nice, especially if you're a blogger. Keeps it really, really nice so that you don't have to worry about, you know, grime and stuff. And I always keep the outer shell of the box as well, because that way I can refer back to ingredients, and it just keeps the palette nicer while it's in my position and working at full force. So yeah, that is it. I give this palette 2 thumbs up. Pretty obsessed with it. You can make it work for day or night, and I think that's all that needs to be said. I'm sorry if the review felt pretty cut and dry. I don't want to let any kind of outer opinions or facts you've already heard from other channels kind of persuade me to view or think of this palette otherwise. I just really wanted to show you the swatches, what I think of it, and whether I think it's worth your money or not. And for $42 for 14 shadows, of course I think it's worth your money. I think Anastasia Beverly Hills is pretty fairly priced for the most part. So go ahead and check this out if you're interested. I know a lot of factories share ingredients. To my knowledge, Anastasia Beverly Hills is not private label at all, or wouldn't be sold at major department stores like Nordstrom's and Macy's. So yes, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this one, and as always, I'll see you guys. See you guys. I heard my phone. Oh, there it is. It's my bathroom door. I was like, I know I heard my phone.